The red carpet stretched like a river of crimson silk beneath the grand entrance of the London Palladium, where hundreds of photographers waited with bated breath. Tonight wasn't just another royal variety performance. Tonight, the Prince and Princess of Wales would make their most anticipated public appearance of the year, arriving at an event steeped in nearly a century of royal tradition. As the autumn evening settled over the West End, thousands of devoted royal watchers lined the streets, their faces illuminated by the warm glow of street lamps and camera flashes. The air crackled with expectation, whispers of excitement rippling through the crowd like electricity. This was more than a charity gala. This was a moment that would capture hearts across the Commonwealth and remind the world why the British monarchy continues to fascinate millions. The morning of November 30th dawned crisp and clear over London, with autumn leaves dancing through the streets of the capital as the city prepared for one of its most prestigious annual events. Deep within the private quarters of Adelaide Cottage in Windsor, Catherine, the Princess of Wales, stood before her wardrobe with her trusted stylist, Natasha Archer, carefully considering the evening ahead. The royal variety performance wasn't just another engagement on their packed calendar, it represented something far more significant in the royal couple's journey together. William had been attending the royal variety performance since childhood, first accompanying his grandmother, Queen Elizabeth II, as a young boy wide-eyed at the spectacle of British entertainment's finest talents gathering under one roof. Now, as heir to the throne, he understood the deeper meaning behind these glittering evenings. The performance served as a bridge between the monarchy and the people, showcasing the very best of British creativity while raising vital funds for the Royal Variety Charity, which supported entertainers in need throughout the United Kingdom. Catherine's selection for the evening would be scrutinized by fashion experts worldwide, analyzed in glossy magazines, and dissected across social media platforms. Every detail mattered: the cut of her gown, the choice of jewelry, even the subtle shade of her nail polish. But beyond the surface glamour lay a more profound responsibility. As future queen consort, Catherine had embraced her role as a patron of the arts, understanding that her presence at events like the Royal Variety Performance carried weight far beyond mere celebrity. The couple's relationship with the entertainment industry had evolved significantly since their wedding in 2011. They had witnessed the power of performance to heal, to unite communities, and to provide hope during the darkest times. The COVID-19 pandemic had particularly highlighted the vulnerability of those working in entertainment, making events like tonight's performance even more meaningful. The funds raised would support aging performers, struggling artists, and entertainment industry workers facing hardship. As morning turned to afternoon, the Palladium itself buzzed with activity. Sound technicians tested microphones, lighting engineers adjusted spotlights, and backstage crews prepared for the arrival of performers who represented the pinnacle of British talent. This year's lineup promised to be exceptional, featuring established stars alongside rising talents who embodied the diverse, dynamic nature of contemporary British entertainment. The Royal Variety Performance had weathered nearly a century of change, adapting to new forms of entertainment while maintaining its essential character. From the music hall traditions of the 1920s to the digital age sensations of today, the show had consistently reflected the evolving landscape of British popular culture. Tonight's performance would feature everything from classical opera to cutting-edge comedy, from traditional dance to contemporary musical theater. Security preparations had begun weeks earlier, with teams from the Metropolitan Police, Palace Protection Officers, and private security firms coordinating to ensure the evening proceeded without incident. The guest list read like a who's who of British society, including government ministers, business leaders, charity patrons, and representatives from the Commonwealth nations. Each invitation represented not just an evening of entertainment, but participation in a tradition that linked past, present, and future. Catherine's preparation extended far beyond choosing her outfit. She had spent hours reviewing briefing papers about each performer, learning about their careers, their charitable work, and their contributions to British culture. When she met them during the post-performance reception, she would be able to engage in meaningful conversations that went beyond polite pleasantries. This attention to detail had become one of her defining characteristics as a working royal, earning respect from performers and industry professionals alike. William, meanwhile, focused on the broader significance of the evening. As president of the British Academy of Film and Television Arts and patron of numerous arts organizations, he understood the challenges facing the creative industries. Tonight offered an opportunity to highlight not just individual talent, but the entire ecosystem that supported British entertainment's global success. The anticipation wasn't limited to the royal couple and their team. Across London, excited theatergoers prepared for their own evening at the Palladium. Many had saved for months to afford tickets to this exclusive event, viewing it as a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to witness royal glamour up close. The royal variety performance represented accessibility within exclusivity, a chance for ordinary people to share the same space as royalty, if only for a few magical hours. Television crews from around the world had positioned themselves strategically around the Palladium, ready to capture every moment of the royal arrival. The footage would be broadcast to millions of viewers across the globe, from devoted royal watchers in Australia to curious observers in countries where monarchy remained a foreign concept. The power of these images to shape perceptions of modern monarchy was not lost on palace communications experts, who had worked closely with the production team to ensure optimal coverage. As afternoon shadows lengthened across London, the first fans began gathering along Argyle Street, hoping to catch a glimpse of their future king and queen. These dedicated royal watchers came from all walks of life, students clutching Union Jack flags, elderly ladies wrapped in warm coats and carrying thermos flasks of tea, families with young children experiencing their first royal encounter. Their presence transformed the street into an impromptu festival of royal enthusiasm, complete with impromptu singing of the national anthem and excited exchanges of royal memorabilia. The evening's charitable focus added depth to the spectacle. The Royal Variety Charity had supported entertainment industry workers for nearly a century, providing housing, healthcare, and financial assistance to those who had dedicated their lives to bringing joy to others. Recent recipients included aging music hall performers, struggling young artists, and industry workers affected by venue closures during the pandemic. Tonight's event would raise hundreds of thousands of pounds to continue this vital work. Inside Adelaide Cottage, final preparations intensified as evening approached. Catherine's hair was styled in an elegant updo that would showcase the sparkling earrings she had chosen, while William reviewed his speech one final time. Their protection officers conducted final security briefings, and their private secretary confirmed the evening's timeline down to the minute. Every detail had been planned and rehearsed, yet there remained an element of spontaneity that made these public appearances both thrilling and nerve-wracking. The couple's children, Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis, would remain at home with their nanny, but their influence was evident in small details. Charlotte had helped choose Catherine's earrings, while George had wished his father luck with a heartfelt hug. These intimate family moments provided grounding amid the grandeur, reminding the couple of what truly mattered beyond the public spectacle. As the sun set over London, painting the sky in shades of amber and rose, the city seemed to hold its breath in anticipation. Tonight would showcase not just the best of British entertainment, but the enduring appeal of monarchy in the modern age. The Prince and Princess of Wales carried this weight gracefully, understanding that their presence elevated the evening from mere entertainment to something approaching magic. The royal variety performance had always been about more than celebrity and glamour. It represented the unique British ability to blend tradition with innovation, formality with fun, respect with accessibility. Tonight's performance would continue this tradition while creating new memories for a new generation of royal watchers and entertainment lovers. The armored Bentley glided silently through the private gates of Windsor Castle as dusk settled over the Thames Valley. Inside the luxurious interior, William and Catherine sat quietly, each lost in their own thoughts as their protection convoy began the journey towards central London. The Princess of Wales adjusted her stunning midnight blue Jenny Packham gown one final time, the intricate beadwork catching the last rays of sunlight streaming through the vehicle's tinted windows. William, resplendent in his tailored black dinner jacket adorned with miniature medals representing his military service, reviewed his mental notes about the evening's performers. Their route had been carefully planned by security teams, avoiding the usual traffic bottlenecks that plagued London's evening rush hour. As they passed through Windsor Great Park, Catherine gazed out at the familiar landscape where she and William had walked countless times with their children, finding moments of normalcy amid their extraordinary lives. Tonight felt different, somehow more significant than their usual royal engagements. Perhaps it was the weight of tradition surrounding the royal variety performance, or maybe it was the knowledge that millions of people around the world would be watching their every move. The convoy included several vehicles protection officers in an unmarked car ahead, their own Bentley, and additional security following behind. Radio communications crackled quietly as teams coordinated their approach to London, monitoring traffic conditions and potential security concerns. Despite the elaborate precautions, the journey felt surprisingly intimate, offering the couple a rare opportunity to speak privately without the constant presence of staff and advisors. Catherine had first attended the Royal Variety performance as William's girlfriend in 2011, shortly before their engagement was announced. She remembered the nervousness she had felt then, uncertain about protocol and overwhelmed by the intensity of public scrutiny. Now, over a decade later, she moved through these events with grace and confidence, having found her own voice within the constraints of royal duty. Tonight's appearance marked another step in her evolution from commoner to future queen, a transformation that had captivated the public imagination. William reflected on his own relationship with the entertainment industry, which had evolved considerably since his youth. As a teenager, he had sometimes found royal protocol stifling, particularly during formal events like tonight's performance. But maturity and his growing understanding of constitutional monarchy had taught him to appreciate these occasions as opportunities to connect with different communities and support important causes. The Royal Variety performance embodied this perfectly, combining genuine entertainment with meaningful charitable work. As they entered London proper, the couple could see evidence of the city preparing for their arrival. Metropolitan police officers had positioned themselves at key intersections, while maintenance crews had ensured that their route was immaculate. Even the street lighting seemed brighter than usual, creating an almost theatrical atmosphere that seemed appropriate for their destination. London had always been a stage, and tonight it was preparing for one of its most elegant performances. The Royal Variety charity held special significance for both William and Catherine. They had visited the charity's residential facilities, meeting elderly performers who had given their lives to entertaining others, but now needed support in their twilight years. These encounters had provided deeply moving reminders of the real impact of tonight's fundraising efforts. Beyond the glamour and celebrity, the evening served a genuinely important purpose that resonated with their commitment to charitable work. Catherine's choice of jewelry for the evening told its own story. The diamond and sapphire earrings she wore had belonged to Princess Diana, connecting her to the royal family's history while adding personal meaning to her public appearance. William had given them to her shortly after their engagement, understanding the significance of this gesture for both Catherine and the British public. Tonight, they would catch the stage lights beautifully while serving as a subtle reminder of continuity within the royal family. The couple's conversation during the journey touched on their children, who had been excited about their parents' evening out despite being too young to attend themselves. Princess Charlotte had particular interest in the entertainment aspects of the evening, having recently discovered a love of theater and dance through her school activities. Prince George, meanwhile, had peppered his father with questions about the security arrangements, displaying an early fascination with the operational aspects of royal life that amused his parents. As they approached central London, the traffic began to thicken despite the careful route planning. Other theatergoers were making their way to evening performances across the West End, creating a vibrant energy that reminded the royal couple of London's position as one of the world's cultural capitals. The city's theaters, concert halls, and performance venues represented centuries of artistic tradition, much of which had enjoyed royal patronage throughout different eras. The Royal Variety performance's history stretched back to 1912, when it was first performed before King George V and Queen Mary. Since then, it had weathered 2 world wars, economic depressions, social revolutions, and technological transformations that had completely reshaped the entertainment industry. Yet the essential spirit of the event remained unchanged in celebration of talent, creativity, and the power of performance to bring people together across social and cultural divides. William and Catherine understood their role as representatives of this continuity. Their presence tonight would create a living link between past and future, honoring traditions while embracing contemporary talent. The performers scheduled to appear represented the full spectrum of modern British entertainment, from established stars who had earned international recognition to emerging artists who embodied the diversity and dynamism of contemporary culture. The security briefings had highlighted the particular challenges of tonight's event. The Palladium's location in the heart of the West End meant that crowd control would be more complex than usual, with normal theater traffic mixing with royal watchers and media personnel. Advanced planning had identified potential bottlenecks and established contingency protocols, but the fluid nature of public events always required adaptability and quick thinking from protection teams. As their convoy turned onto Regent Street, Catherine could see the first signs of the crowds gathering around the Palladium. Even from a distance, the excitement was palpable. People pressed against barriers, photographers testing their equipment, and television crews setting up for live broadcasts. The sight never failed to amaze her, the dedication of people who spent hours waiting for just a glimpse of their royal family. This public affection represented a trust that she and William took seriously, understanding that their behavior reflected on the monarchy as a whole. The final approach to the Palladium required careful coordination with venue security and local police. Streets had been closed to normal traffic, creating an almost surreal atmosphere as the convoy made its way through areas usually bustling with activity. Shop windows reflected the flashing lights of police vehicles and media crews, while curious onlookers peered from upper-floor windows hoping to catch sight of the royal arrival. Inside the Bentley, William and Catherine made final adjustments to their appearance while reviewing the evening's schedule one last time. They would arrive at the Palladium, meet briefly with charity officials and key dignitaries, enjoy the performance from the royal box, and then attend a post-show reception where they would meet the evening's performers. Each segment had been carefully timed and rehearsed, yet they knew that the most memorable moments often occurred during unscripted interactions with the public and performers. The weight of expectation was enormous, but it was a burden they had learned to carry gracefully. Tonight's appearance would generate headlines around the world, influence fashion trends, and provide talking points for royal commentators for weeks to come. More importantly, it would raise substantial funds for charity while celebrating the incredible talent that made British entertainment a global cultural force. As the Palladium came into view, its iconic facade blazed with lights that turned the surrounding streets into a stage set. The red carpet stretched from the curb to the theater's entrance, flanked by barriers holding back hundreds of excited spectators. This was the moment they had been preparing for, the transformation from private individuals into public symbols of majesty and continuity. The journey from Windsor was ending, but the evening's real performance was just beginning. The crowd's roar was audible even from inside the armored Bentley as it approached the red carpet outside the London Palladium. Hundreds of camera flashes created a strobe effect against the evening sky, while television crews positioned themselves for optimal coverage of what would become one of the most photographed royal appearances of the year. Catherine felt the familiar flutter of anticipation in her stomach, a reminder that despite years of public appearances, these moments never became entirely routine. The vehicle came to a gentle stop precisely at the red carpet's edge, where palace staff and venue officials waited in perfect formation. The timing was crucial. Everything from the car door opening to the couple's first steps onto the red carpet had been choreographed to ensure maximum visual impact while maintaining the dignity befitting their royal status. As protection officers discreetly positioned themselves around the arrival area, William reached over to squeeze Catherine's hand, a small gesture of support that spoke volumes about their partnership, both personal and professional. The car door opened, and the evening's magic truly began. William emerged first, his tall frame elegant in the perfectly tailored dinner jacket as he turned to assist Catherine from the vehicle. The Princess of Wales appeared like something from a fairy tale, her midnight blue gown flowing gracefully as she accepted William's offered hand. The crowd's excitement reached a crescendo as she stepped onto the red carpet, the intricate beadwork on her dress catching the lights and creating sparkles that danced across photographers' lenses. Catherine's choice of outfit had been the subject of intense speculation for weeks among fashion experts and royal watchers. The Jenny Packham gown represented everything she had become known for: elegant without being ostentatious, contemporary while respecting tradition, and perfectly suited to the evening's formal requirements. The dress featured subtle royal blue threading that caught the light beautifully, while its classic silhouette emphasized Catherine's graceful bearing without overwhelming her natural beauty. The couple paused at the carpet's beginning, allowing photographers their essential shots while acknowledging the crowd's enthusiasm with warm waves and genuine smiles. This moment represented far more than a photo opportunity. It was a carefully orchestrated display of accessibility and glamour that helped maintain the monarchy's relevance in the modern world. William and Catherine had mastered the art of appearing both regal and relatable, formal yet warm. Lord Andrew Lloyd Webber, the evening's host, and one of Britain's most celebrated composers, stepped forward to greet the royal couple. His presence added another layer of significance to the evening, as his musicals had defined British theater for decades and brought joy to millions worldwide. The brief conversation between him and William touched on recent developments in the West End's recovery following the pandemic, highlighting the evening's charitable mission beyond its entertainment value. As they made their way along the red carpet, Catherine and William stopped to acknowledge various groups within the crowd. Royal protection officers moved with practiced precision, creating space while maintaining the relaxed atmosphere that made these interactions feel natural rather than staged. Catherine's training in public relations, combined with her genuine interest in people, shone through as she made eye contact with individuals in the crowd, creating moments of personal connection that would become treasured memories. The media presence was overwhelming but carefully managed. Representatives from major networks around the world jostled for position alongside British journalists who had covered the royal family for decades. Each photograph would be analyzed for body language, fashion choices, and subtle signs of the couple's mood or relationship dynamic. The intense scrutiny had initially intimidated Catherine, but she had learned to use it strategically, understanding that positive images could support important causes and charitable work. Inside the Palladium's ornate foyer, distinguished guests had gathered for pre-performance champagne and conversation. The guest list included government ministers, leaders from the entertainment industry, major donors to the Royal Variety Charity, and representatives from various Commonwealth nations. Each had been selected not only for their status, but for their connection to the evening's charitable mission or their contribution to British cultural life. William's military bearing was evident as he greeted various dignitaries, his posture and manner reflecting years of training in protocol and diplomacy. Yet there was nothing stiff or artificial about his interactions. He had developed an ability to make formal occasions feel personal, asking thoughtful questions, and showing genuine interest in the responses. This skill had made him an effective ambassador for Britain, capable of building relationships that extended far beyond ceremonial functions. The theater's interior provided a stunning backdrop for the evening's festivities. The Palladium had been restored to its full Edwardian glory, with gilded balconies, plush red seating, and crystal chandeliers that cast warm light over the assembled guests. The venue's history seemed to come alive in the presence of royalty, creating connections between past and present that gave weight to the evening's significance. Catherine's interactions with fellow guests revealed her evolution from nervous newcomer to confident royal representative. She moved through conversations with ease, switching topics from children's education to arts funding to international relations without missing a beat. Her background in art history proved valuable when discussing cultural initiatives, while her experience as a mother allowed her to connect with performers who spoke about inspiring young people through their work. The royal box had been prepared with meticulous attention to detail. Fresh flowers in carefully chosen arrangements provided color without overwhelming the sight lines, while subtle lighting ensured that the royal couple would be visible to the audience without creating distraction during the performance. Every element had been designed to balance the requirements of royal protocol with the practical needs of a working theater. As the evening's first bell chimed, signaling that curtain time was approaching, William and Catherine made their way toward the auditorium. The anticipation was palpable not just among the audience, but throughout the theater community represented in tonight's performance. For many of the evening's performers, this would represent a career highlight, a chance to showcase their talents before royalty while supporting a cause close to their hearts. The couple's entrance into the royal box created a moment of pure theater in itself. The audience rose as one, applauding not just their presence, but what they represented: the continuity of British institutions, the marriage of tradition with modernity, and the ongoing relevance of monarchy in contemporary life. William and Catherine acknowledged the applause gracefully before taking their seats, ready to enjoy an evening of entertainment that would showcase the best of British talent. The program for the evening had been carefully curated to represent the full spectrum of contemporary British entertainment. Classical musicians would share the stage with pop stars, comedians would follow opera singers, and dancers would interpret everything from traditional ballet to cutting-edge contemporary pieces. This diversity reflected the evolution of British culture itself, showing how tradition and innovation could coexist and strengthen each other. As the house lights dimmed and the curtain began to rise, Catherine felt a familiar sense of excitement. Despite attending countless performances during her years as a working royal, she retained genuine enthusiasm for live entertainment. Tonight promised to be special, featuring artists she had admired from afar and newcomers whose careers were just beginning to flourish. The Royal Variety performance had always been about discovery as much as celebration, introducing audiences to new voices alongside established favorites. The evening's charitable focus added emotional depth to the spectacle. In the weeks leading up to the performance, William and Catherine had visited some of the Royal Variety Charity's beneficiaries, meeting elderly performers who had given their lives to entertainment, but now needed support in their final years. These encounters had provided powerful reminders of why events like tonight mattered beyond their entertainment value. As the first notes of the opening number filled the historic theater, William and Catherine settled in to enjoy an evening that would combine glamour with substance, tradition with innovation, and celebrity with genuine charitable purpose. The journey from Windsor had ended, but the evening's real magic was just beginning to unfold on the stage below them. The royal box provided the perfect vantage point as the Palladium's curtain rose to reveal a stage transformed into a wonderland of lights and color. The opening number featured the West End's most celebrated chorus, performing a medley that traced the evolution of British musical theatre from the intimate revues of the 1920s to the spectacular productions that now dominated London's theatre district. Catherine leaned forward slightly in her seat, genuinely captivated by the precision of the choreography and the power of voices that filled every corner of the historic venue. William found himself transported back to his childhood visits to similar performances, when his grandmother Queen Elizabeth II would point out the intricate details of staging and performance that might escape casual observation. Tonight, he noticed how seamlessly the technical crew managed lighting changes, how perfectly the orchestra synchronized with the performers, and how the entire production reflected the collaborative spirit that made British theatre a global cultural force. The first solo performer of the evening was Dame Judi Dench, whose appearance drew an immediate standing ovation from the capacity audience. Her reading from Shakespeare's sonnets demonstrated the timeless power of great poetry, while her natural warmth and humor reminded everyone why she remained one of Britain's most beloved performers. As she concluded her performance, she offered a subtle nod toward the royal box, acknowledging the presence of William and Catherine with the grace that had defined her decades-long career. Catherine's genuine appreciation for the performance was evident in her responses. Unlike some royal appearances where protocol demanded measured reactions, the Royal Variety performance encouraged authentic enjoyment. Her laughter during the comedy segments was infectious, while her applause for the musical numbers showed real appreciation for the artistry on display. This authenticity had become one of her defining characteristics as a working royal, helping to modernize perceptions of the monarchy while maintaining its essential dignity. The evening's comedy segment featured a rising star whose material cleverly balanced irreverence with respect, poking gentle fun at British institutions while celebrating the quirks that made the nation unique. William's laughter was particularly genuine during moments that referenced the challenges of modern royal life, showing his ability to appreciate humor even when it touched on his own experiences. This self-awareness had endeared him to the public, demonstrating that royalty could be both dignified and human. A spectacular dance performance followed, featuring choreography that told the story of immigration and cultural integration in modern Britain. The piece was both beautiful and politically significant, reflecting the monarchy's evolved approach to contemporary social issues. Catherine's background in art history allowed her to appreciate the visual storytelling elements, while William's diplomatic training helped him understand the piece's broader cultural implications. The musical segments showcased the incredible diversity of British talent. A young opera singer from Wales delivered an aria that demonstrated the continuing vitality of classical traditions, while a folk musician from Scotland offered songs that connected ancient melodies to contemporary concerns. Between them, a pop star whose global success had begun with appearances on British television performed hits that had topped charts around the world, showing how British creativity continued to influence international culture. Each performance was separated by brief intervals that allowed the audience to process what they had experienced while preparing for what would follow. During these moments, William and Catherine exchanged quiet observations about the performers, sharing insights that reflected their different perspectives and interests. These private conversations provided glimpses of their genuine partnership, showing how their individual strengths combined to create effective royal representation. The evening's most moving segment featured a tribute to healthcare workers, performed by artists who had themselves been affected by the recent pandemic. The piece combined music, dance, and spoken word to create something that transcended mere entertainment, becoming a genuine artistic statement about resilience and community solidarity. Catherine's emotional response was visible to those watching closely, reflecting her own involvement with healthcare charities and her understanding of the sacrifices made by frontline workers. A comedy magician provided lighter moments with allusions that playfully incorporated elements of royal protocol into his act. His good-natured jokes about palace life demonstrated the affection in which the royal family was held, while his genuine skill as a performer showed why he had earned a place on such a prestigious program. William's participation in one of the magic tricks drew delighted applause from the audience, showing his willingness to engage fully with the evening's entertainment. The technical aspects of the performance were as impressive as the artistic elements. The Palladium's renovated sound system carried every nuance of vocal performance to the furthest seats, while sophisticated lighting created atmospheric changes that transported the audience through different moods and settings. The seamless coordination between performers, musicians, and technical crews reflected the professionalism that made British entertainment productions leaders in their field. Catherine's choice of jewelry proved particularly effective under the stage lights. The sapphire and diamond earrings that had belonged to Princess Diana caught the illumination beautifully, creating sparkles that were captured by photographers while adding personal significance to her public appearance. The subtle symbolism was not lost on royal watchers, who understood the importance of these connections to royal history and tradition. As the evening progressed, the performances became increasingly elaborate. A segment featuring aerial acrobatics transformed the theater space into something resembling a circus tent, while maintaining the elegance appropriate to the venue and occasion. The performer's skill was breathtaking, requiring years of training and perfect coordination to execute safely in front of such a distinguished audience. The international elements of the performance reflected Britain's global cultural connections. Musicians from various Commonwealth nations contributed pieces that showed how British cultural traditions had evolved through contact with other societies, creating new forms of expression that remained recognizably British while incorporating global influences. This diversity was particularly meaningful given William and Catherine's roles as future heads of the Commonwealth. Young performers featured prominently throughout the evening, representing the next generation of British talent and ensuring the continuity of entertainment traditions. Catherine's particular interest in educational initiatives made these segments especially meaningful for her, as she could see the results of arts education programs that she and William supported through their charitable work. The orchestra, positioned in the renovated pit, provided accompaniment that enhanced every performance without overwhelming the individual artistry of the featured performers. The musicians represented some of Britain's finest classical talents, many of whom maintained successful careers in concert halls and recording studios while also supporting theatrical productions like tonight's show. As the evening moved toward its climactic final segment, the energy in the theater continued to build. The combination of individual excellence and collaborative artistry had created something greater than the sum of its parts, demonstrating why the Royal Variety performance had remained relevant for more than a century. The tradition continued to evolve while maintaining its essential character, much like the monarchy itself. The audience's appreciation was evident in sustained applause between segments and the rapt attention given to each performer. The diverse gathering included entertainment industry professionals who understood the technical challenges involved in mounting such a production, alongside general public attendees who simply enjoyed the spectacle and artistry on display. William and Catherine's presence elevated the entire evening, providing a sense of occasion that enhanced rather than overshadowed the performances. Their genuine enjoyment was contagious, encouraging the audience to engage fully with each segment while maintaining the respectful atmosphere appropriate to such a distinguished gathering. The evening's finale approached with mounting anticipation as the entire cast assembled on the Palladium stage for what would become an unforgettable conclusion to an extraordinary night of entertainment. The orchestra's opening notes signaled the beginning of a medley that would unite all the evening's performers in a celebration of British creativity, talent, and charitable spirit. Catherine and William leaned forward in the royal box, understanding that they were witnessing something truly special, a moment that would be remembered long after the curtain fell and the crowds dispersed. Dame Shirley Bassey, making a surprise appearance that had been kept secret until this final moment, emerged from the wings to thunderous applause. Her powerful voice filled the theater with "We'll Meet Again," a song that had sustained British spirits through wartime and had found new relevance during recent challenging times. The emotional impact was immediate and profound, with many audience members visibly moved by the combination of her legendary artistry and the song's powerful message of hope and resilience. As Dame Shirley's final notes faded, the entire cast joined her on stage for a rousing rendition of "Rule, Britannia" that showcased the full range of British musical talent. Opera singers provided soaring high notes, while pop stars added contemporary flair. Comedians contributed their own unique interpretations, and dancers created visual storytelling that brought the familiar lyrics to new life. The result was both traditional and revolutionary, honoring the past while pointing toward an exciting future for British entertainment. William and Catherine rose to join the standing ovation that swept through the theater, their genuine emotion evident to everyone present. This was more than polite royal protocol. This was authentic appreciation for artistry that had touched their hearts and reminded them why events like the Royal Variety Performance mattered beyond their charitable function. The couple's visible enjoyment enhanced the evening's impact, showing that royalty could be both dignified and genuinely human. The post-performance reception began immediately after the final curtain call, with performers, guests, and dignitaries gathering in the Palladium's elegantly appointed reception rooms. The atmosphere was electric with the energy that follows exceptional live performance, as artists who had given their all on stage now had the opportunity to meet the royal couple in more intimate surroundings. Catherine's background in art history proved invaluable as she engaged performers in detailed conversations about their creative processes and career journeys. William's interactions revealed his growing confidence in representing the monarchy within creative communities. His questions demonstrated genuine interest in the challenges facing contemporary British entertainment, from funding difficulties to the impact of technological change on traditional performance venues. Several performers later commented on his knowledge of industry issues and his apparent commitment to supporting arts initiatives through his charitable work. The evening's charitable success exceeded all expectations, with preliminary figures suggesting that the event had raised over £2 million for the Royal Variety charity. This substantial sum would support hundreds of entertainment industry workers in need, funding everything from residential care for aging performers to emergency assistance for artists facing financial hardship. Catherine's emotional response when informed of the total reflected her genuine commitment to the charitable causes that had become central to her royal role. Young performers at the reception were particularly excited to meet the royal couple, many of them representing the diversity that characterized contemporary British entertainment. Catherine's conversations with these rising stars revealed her genuine interest in their educational backgrounds and career aspirations, while William discussed the importance of arts education in developing well-rounded citizens. These interactions planted seeds for future charitable initiatives and educational programs. The media coverage of the evening would prove extensive and overwhelmingly positive. Fashion experts praised Catherine's elegant gown choice, while royal commentators noted the couple's relaxed confidence and genuine enjoyment throughout the evening. International coverage emphasized the soft power benefits of such events, showing how royal patronage of the arts enhanced Britain's cultural reputation worldwide. Behind the scenes, the evening's logistical success reflected months of detailed planning by palace staff, venue management, and security services. Every element from the red carpet arrival to the final departure had been choreographed to ensure maximum impact, while maintaining appropriate security and protocol standards. The seamless execution allowed the focus to remain on the entertainment and charitable objectives rather than operational concerns. The evening's impact on individual performers would prove lasting and significant. Several artists reported career boosts following their royal performance, with increased bookings and media attention translating into enhanced professional opportunities. This ripple effect demonstrated how royal patronage continued to provide meaningful support for British creative industries beyond the immediate charitable fundraising. Catherine's fashion choices generated international attention that extended far beyond royal watching circles. The Jenny Packham gown she wore was immediately identified and analyzed by fashion experts, leading to increased interest in British fashion designers and demonstrating the economic impact of royal-style choices. The sapphire earrings inherited from Princess Diana added historical significance that resonated with royal family supporters worldwide. The couple's departure from the Palladium was as carefully orchestrated as their arrival, but the atmosphere was notably different. Where the evening had begun with anticipation and formal ceremony, it concluded with warmth and satisfaction. The crowd that remained outside the theater despite the late hour cheered enthusiastically as William and Catherine emerged, their obvious contentment with the evening's events visible even from a distance. During their journey back to Windsor, the couple reflected on an evening that had exceeded their expectations in every way. The quality of the performances had been exceptional, the charitable success substantial, and their own roles had felt natural and meaningful. These rare moments of unqualified success in public life were precious, providing validation for their approach to royal duty and encouragement for future engagements. The Royal Variety Performances tradition of combining entertainment with charitable fundraising had found perfect expression in this year's event. The balance between spectacle and substance, tradition and innovation, formality and accessibility had created something that satisfied multiple audiences while achieving important practical objectives. William and Catherine's participation had elevated the evening while remaining true to their evolving approach to royal representation. The event's success would influence planning for future royal cultural engagements, demonstrating the continued relevance of traditional formats when executed with contemporary sensibilities. The combination of established stars and emerging talent, classic material, and innovative presentations had created a template for cultural events that honored the past while embracing the future. As their convoy passed through the quiet streets of Windsor in the early hours of the morning, William and Catherine could take satisfaction in an evening that had achieved everything they had hoped for and more. The Royal Variety performance had once again demonstrated the power of live entertainment to unite people across social divides, the importance of supporting creative communities, and the continuing relevance of royal patronage in the modern world. The memories created during this magical evening would last far beyond the final applause and media coverage. For the performers, it represented a career milestone that would be treasured throughout their professional lives. For the audience members, it provided an experience that combined glamour with genuine artistic excellence. For William and Catherine, it offered another successful chapter in their journey as working royals committed to service, tradition, and positive change. The success of the evening reinforced their belief that the monarchy could remain relevant and valuable in contemporary Britain by adapting its traditions to serve modern needs while maintaining the dignity and continuity that made it unique. The Royal Variety performance had provided the perfect stage for this ongoing evolution, creating magic that would be remembered and celebrated long after the theater lights dimmed and the red carpet was rolled away.